in the yoga tradition, the eclipses are known to be these really potent portals for meditation and for the sadhana, for the deep spiritual connection. And we have a lunar eclipse that occurred in the Eastern time zone here, which I think all of us are on, at 12:45 this morning. So we're still riding the lunar eclipse current for sure. And we'll continue to be enmeshed in these lunar eclipse energies as well. And the yoga classics say that a mantra that is recited every day of the year, any average day of the year, one mantra equals one mantra. But if you recite one mantra on an eclipse day, it equals 1,000 mantras. So that's pretty rad. And so this is to say that if we look at the universe as this deep relationship, and we look at ourselves as being in this deep, intimate, mysterious relationship with so much of the invisible but very real forces that are around us, like the lunar cycles, then we can recognize how a mantra, and that can be a specific mantra, as I'll explore with us today in our session, but really all of your thoughts are mantras too. So our thoughts carry more energetic weight today. They carry more energetic power and potency. So that's also why it's really beautiful to engage in our sadhana today, so that we can bring our consciousness to a state in which our thought patterns will bear better fruit, so to speak, right? The seeds of our thoughts, the seeds of our mantras that we are planting today will bear better fruit. I don't know about you guys, but my thoughts are definitely like in a better place after I meditate than like after I'm scrolling on Facebook. So, it's a good time to do our practice today, for sure. It's also Guru Purnima, and Guru Purnima is a really, really beautiful and very, very special day. It's a celebration of our teachers. The Guru, as you guys know, the Guru is translated as the dispeller of darkness, or someone who transforms the darkness to the light. Guru, darkness, light. And so our first journaling exercise is to just, if you so choose, to engage in a journaling exercise. I won't force you. But if you want to open up your journal, let's just take a moment to contemplate and write down some of the names of some of the teachers that you've had throughout the course of your life. And I know you guys are seasoned practitioners, so y'all know how this works. Of course, there are the obvious teachers, the ones who've been really inspiring to you along the journey, the ones who've shared knowledge that illuminated you, that helped you. But then there are the teachers that come in really good disguises. The teachers who teach us how to be patient by testing our patience, The teachers who teach us the divine gift of forgiveness by requiring our forgiveness, or at least giving us cause to need to forgive. one name is not on your list yet, then please include yourself. So feel free to keep writing your list of teachers. Don't let me stop you. For those of you who just joined, we are writing down the names of some of our teachers. And of course, that doesn't have to be like actual, like your math teacher when you were in high school. It can be, obviously, but we know that teachers show up in our lives in all forms, and sometimes they are cloaked in heavy disguises, not as the kind, loving, encouraging, inspiring teacher that we would like. Yay, Megan. So feel free to keep writing down your teachers if you wish, and that just might be a nice practice to engage in throughout the rest of the day, since it is Guru Purnima today. When you find your mind wandering and you catch yourself, you can perhaps refer back to this list or just call up one of the names or one of the images of one of your teachers and send them a little thank you, hold a little space, a little real estate in your heart for your teachers. We know how powerful that redirection of our attention can be. So because it is also a full moon and the lunar eclipse, one of the ways I wanted to approach our practice today is through this theme of duality, this theme of polarity. And it's something that we are certainly faced with a lot, both on a personal level and on a collective level, more so than ever before, frankly, I believe. Polarities of right versus wrong, right versus left, of the inner world versus the outer world out there. The sun and the moon represent this polarity on a more metaphorical level, and yet a very, very material level as well. And this thinking of polarity can get us into a lot of trouble, because polarity does tend to cause a lot of us stress and suffering. I know it causes me stress and suffering. And out of polarity arises craving and aversion, two of the biggest poisons as they are known in the yoga tradition, which also parallels Buddhist wisdom too. These are two big kleshas, two big poisons or obstacles on the path. Craving, clinging, especially clinging to positive sensations. I find, myself getting caught into thought patterns of craving experiences that I had back in February in my past life, or just being able to go out somewhere and yeah, just be able to go out somewhere. I'll just stop there. Craving pleasurable experiences, craving something that I don't already possess, and then aversion, which is avoiding unpleasant experiences. So one of my favorite teachers on the planet, Ram Dass, he was such a gift and still is a gift, because even after he passed last December, his teachings still live on. And luckily there are so many great recordings of him. There's his foundation, the Love, Serve, Remember Foundation. They publish a lot of his audio. And I was listening to one of his lectures yesterday, and he talked in his brilliant way about polarity, particularly the polarity of sadness and happiness. And I wanted to share his words with you. And I'll also send this quote in a follow-up email too. So feel free just to, if you like, just to find some length in your spine. Feel free to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Maybe roll the shoulders up and relax the shoulders down a few times, just so that you can begin to get settled in a comfortable seat. I'll read this quote and then we'll just dive into some gentle pranayama and start to take it from there, start to explore the nature of polarity and how in the yoga tradition we move into polarity, we move into duality without judgment so that we can move through it, so that we can get to the space behind it. But let's start where we are, just breathing in and breathing out. Just let yourself start to notice right where you are. Notice your body in this moment. Notice the sensations and the sounds of your space around you. Ram Dass says, as long as I kept happiness as the polar opposite of sadness, it was like keeping love as the polar opposite of hate. To the extent that happiness means being in harmony with what is, I finally realized that my happiness isn't based on the situation being this way or that way. My happiness is one which embraces my sadness. Finally, my love is one which embraces my own hate. That quality of happiness from just being in relationship to the universe as it is, not because it's this way or because it's that way, is the deeper quality of happiness that the Buddhists speak of. So play with the polarities of your happiness and your sadness. Now you understand that the way you look at your sadness is not as something to push away, but something to say, yes, there is sadness in life. And my sadness came out of my truth also. See, when you come up for air out of a lot of sadness, you want to cling to your happiness. But as long as you're clinging to anything and pushing anything away, you're vulnerable. It's got you. And finally, you have to embrace it into yourself, all of it. Now that you've learned to be happy, you can turn around and look back at your sadness and start to allow that that's a part of you too, until you've embraced all of it into yourself. Deepening the rhythm of your breath now. Moving into 3-part breath, the full yogic breath. As you inhale, you can invite that breath down deep into the base of your lungs, a little softness in your belly. As you exhale, your navel hugs back toward your spine. Breathing in deeply down across the belly, expanding across the side ribs, exhaling fully. Breathing in from the base of the lungs, the belly. Exhale, draw the navel back toward your low spine. Just dropping deep. Inhale from the base of the lungs, across your solar plexus, all the way up across your heart. There's that full yogic breath. exhaling like a wave, thoroughly, consciously. Breathing in, low lungs, solar plexus, across your heart. Exhale, emptying up and out. It's often said that full moons are good times for clearing, cleaning, releasing. We've come to a certain point in a cycle where there's a bit of release, a bit of fruition or fulfillment. One cycle has ended. And so with every exhale, you might imagine just kind of cleaning and clearing house, cleaning house within you, cleaning out the prana, the life force energy within you, clearing out, cleaning out the mind. Maybe there's something you've been holding on to. Maybe that's an understatement. Maybe there's something, some thought, phrase, a little packet of energy, like a little data packet that's been lodged in your mind, in your energy field, or maybe in your left shoulder. You know how those thought packets, those energy packets get stuck in the muscle tissue. With every exhale, you might imagine letting that go, letting that go. And as you exhale, it just releases and evaporates into the air above you, completely dissolving, releasing. And with each inhale, you're drawing in some fresh prana, some fresh, clean vitality, some openness, some ease. Could you sense that expansion 360 degrees around your torso, around your rib cage as you breathe in, exhaling completely? Enjoy a few more breaths here. And then on your next inhale, with your eyes closed or with your gaze soft, just float your arms out and up toward the sky. Bring your palms together overhead. As you exhale, slide your hands down to your heart center. Lift your heart to meet your thumbs. Maybe softly draw your chin downward to bow to yourself, to bow to the guru within you, the teacher within you, that inner voice, that inner guidance system that has nudged you along throughout the journey of your life. Take a deep breath into your heart. Thank yourself. Exhale completely. Let's take another deep breath in through the nose. Exhale with a big sigh. Beautiful. And then once again, inhale, stretch the arms up, reach through the fingertips, and then we'll relax the right arm down. You might walk your right fingertips out to the side. If you're sitting on a chair, the couch, or the floor, stretch your left arm up and overhead, a little side bend here. Maybe you could feel the breath, or just imagine the breath traveling down the left side of your body. Maybe you gaze up at your left palm. And then inhale back to center, stretch both arms up, really rooted through the hips, lifting through the fingertips. Exhale, sweep your left arm down. Walk the left fingertips out to the side. Extend the right arm up and overhead. Lots of space between the right shoulder and the right ear. Shoulder blades relaxing down the back, rising up through the front line of your torso, lifting through your chest. Maybe gaze up at your right hand. Enjoy the breath here. And then again, both arms stretch up to the sky. We'll inhale and exhale. Just gently twist to the right. Just kind of getting a little gentle, easy movement in the body, in the spine this morning. That'll help the prana flow more freely. Breathe in, come on back to center, send the arms all the way up, vitalizing the system gently. Exhale, twist to the other side. We don't have to lean back into that back hand, just really light in your left fingertips, crossing your right hand over toward your left leg. Shoulders relaxed. And then spiral back to center. Beautiful. You can relax your hands down. Feel free to rotate your shoulders around a little more. I always joke, like, we could just do this for the whole hour. Just roll the shoulders around. My goodness. So we'll move into some deeper pranayama. If you'd like to stretch out your legs for a moment too, that can feel nice before we dive into some deeper movement. I'm sorry, not deeper movement. That's why you're moving now, because we'll move into some deeper stillness next. But there's that polarity again, movement and stillness. And one of my teachers used to say, actually my old Tai Chi teacher, he used to always say when we were moving through the Tai Chi sequences to find the stillness while you were moving. And then even when you would come to points of stillness, he would say, notice the movement. Notice what subtle movements are there. Could you feel that life force energy in your fingertips, in your palms, behind your eyes, in your heartbeat? Could you feel it more palpably in the rhythm of your breath, in the thought patterns? So there's always stillness and there's always movement, right? And as we know, in the yoga tradition, it's not about getting too carried away in one extreme or the other. It's about always just having enough compassion for ourselves to see where we can exist in a greater state of harmony, a greater state of balance, right? One way is not right and one way is not wrong. One way is not superior and the other inferior. We're just trying to see how these polarities can actually coexist, can inform one another. As Ram Dass says, even our sadness, one of his famous quotes is, can your suffering become your grace? Even your suffering. At a certain point in the journey, even your suffering becomes your grace. And I quite love that. And we can often reference that. If you think back to a moment in your life, a situation in your life, a difficulty, a deep challenge, a deep pain that you have gone through and overcome, now you're on the other side of it. So you can look back with that noble wisdom, right? And perhaps look at your suffering and say, oh yes, that period in my life when I was suffering with depression, now I can see the gifts that even my depression has given me, and all the pain and all the suffering that it put me through, or when that relationship fell apart, or when I lost my job out of nowhere, and I was so miserable and I was so upset and I was shaking my fists at the sky thinking, like, why did this happen? Why is this happening to me? Why is everything falling apart that I've worked so hard to construct? Usually when we're on the other side of those situations, we can look back and see the gifts. And we often hear that too with people who've suffered immense pain. They've gone through immense things. People who've had cancer, people who've lost dear loved ones. You know, this is how life goes. Sometimes they'll even say, yeah, my illness woke me up. I'm more alive now. I'm living a better life now than I was before my diagnosis. We hear this. And this is the approach, to look at all of these energies as they arise and to hold space. When we're holding space for them, what we're really doing is holding space for ourselves. And this, on this lunar eclipse day, is a really, really beautiful day to hold space for ourselves, just to let yourself be with a lot of compassion, a lot of compassion, because there is obviously so much going on in the world, on a collective unconscious. I do believe we are going through a shadow work journey, and I know a lot of you guys have heard me talk about shadow work. I won't go down that rabbit hole because we've got breathing and meditating to do, but I'll stay on task, I promise. But that's what Ram Dass was talking about in his quote. It's embracing all of it. When we judge, when we splice off, when we shove away, that's aversion, right? I'm only craving pleasant experiences. And I want to shove away the unpleasant experiences. But in shadow work, we're learning this new way of being, of holding more than just one set of energies or opinions or states of being. And it's nice because some of the breathing exercises might feel a little uncomfortable today. So these are beautiful opportunities for us to practice the art of being comfortable with discomfort. We say that a lot in yoga. So with any of these techniques, however, if it's not right for you today, don't do it, please. We are never to sacrifice our health for a yoga technique. That defeats the purpose of the technique. So be mindful, obviously. If when we're doing some of the more vigorous, energizing breath techniques, which we'll actually be starting with now, if you are working with any if you're pregnant, or you think you might be pregnant, or you're on your cycle for women, if you're working with any heart conditions today, then avoid this technique. Do not practice it, and just go back to 3-part breath, the full yogic breath. That's a lot safer. Likewise, if you are working with some congestion today, you might just really practice this technique very, very gently. You don't need to push it. You don't need to force it. I promise. For those of you who are pittas on the call, which I know a bunch of you are, you got that pitta fire energy. I promise, and I've had to learn this the hard way, doing a technique as strong as I can doesn't actually mean that it's better for you. It might actually backfire. So be kind to yourself and just start slow and take it easy. The first technique that we'll practice, many of you have practiced this with me on these calls before. It's one that I've been incorporating into my own personal practices a lot lately. It stems from, it's a big part of the Kundalini yoga tradition. It's a beautiful way to clean house, to really clean out and clear out the prana, the old stagnant energy, so that we can invite some fresh, revitalized energy into our system. So I'll just demo it quickly and then we can practice it together. But again, if it doesn't feel right for you in your body today, then don't worry about it. Don't do it. Just come back to that nice tall seat. Breathe deeply in and out through the nose. That's perfect. So much good work there. This technique is a combination of crisp, brisk movement and a crisp breath, as well as a mantra. So I mentioned at the beginning of the call that on a day like today with the lunar eclipse, that one mantra in the yoga tradition, the ancient yogis said that one mantra equals 1,000 mantras. So the power of just one mantra equals the energy of 1,000. So that's really lovely. And the mantra correlated with this technique is Sat Nam, Satnam. And it translates as true name. Sat meaning truth, Nam meaning like a deep honoring or name. Truth is my name. Truth is my identity. That's my connection to the higher self. That's your connection to the self with the capital S, not identified with our achievements and our pleasurable experiences and our goals and our roles and all that fun jazz, which we need. That's part of polarity. That's part of the dance. But Satnam helps us connect behind all that. So the movement is to bring your fingertips to the tops of your shoulders, and we inhale and twist to the left. This is all in and out through the nose. You're twisting to the left as you inhale, and as you exhale, you're twisting to the right. So it's inhaling left, exhaling right. And you're moving from your solar plexus here. You're not just like swiveling your shoulders or your elbows around. So the whole torso is shifting. Range of motion is not important here. You don't have to make this an extreme range of motion. You could keep it really slow. So it will look like and the mind is thinking Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. So let's give it a go together. You can practice this technique or just revert back to 3-part breaths sitting comfortably. Otherwise, elbows out to the sides, opening up those channels, those nadis, those meridians across the heart center, across the lungs. So good for the respiratory system, so good for the immune system. We'll inhale to the left, exhale to the right. Inhale left, exhale right. You can slow this down. You can stay at this pace, or you can pick it up. Close your eyes, dive within. Sat Nam, Sat Nam. We'll be doing this for a little while, just about 20 minutes. Just kidding. Just about 2.5 more minutes. Relax the jaw. The breath is deep. The breath is powerful. Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam, Sat Nam. At a certain point, your shoulders might say, all right, I've had enough of this. Or maybe your mind says, okay, that was cool. Now let's do something else. And that's the moment you decide, is this truly physical? Do I need to adjust to protect my body or a condition that I am working with today? Or is it just my mind? Is it just craving and aversion? Is it just aversion, those old patterns coming up? This is our opportunity on a day like today to reroute some of those old patterns, those old samskaras. Sat Nam, Sat Nam. To give yourself the power to choose. No force and no holding back. Good. Listening to your body, listening to that deep inner wisdom. Sat Nam. 30 more seconds. Good. And then slowly on your next, after your next exhale, come on back to center. Oh yeah, relax the arms down, palms rotated up, thumbs and index fingers connect. Draw in a deep breath from the base of the lungs, from the root. Let that breath rise all the way up, pooling across your heart. Just hold the breath for a moment at the top, and then exhale slowly, consciously. Inhale deeply. Hold the breath at the top. You can bring your tongue to the roof of the mouth behind your front two teeth, sealing in that prana that you've just energized and cultivated in your system. And then exhale through the nose. You can relax the tongue. One more time. Take a deep breath in. If you're familiar with the root lock, Muladhara Bandha, you might engage that, engaging the root lock, engaging across your glutes perhaps, just recruiting the glutes, engaging across the pelvic floor. Root lock as your breath rises. Hold the breath at the top, throat lock, tongue to the roof of the mouth behind the front two teeth, Jalandhara Bandha, chin slightly tucked. And then exhale, release the locks, let the breath return to normal, to natural. Just notice. No need to analyze. No need to judge your experience. Riding the waves of the breath. And on your next inhale, with your eyes closed or with your gaze relaxed, float the arms out and up. Once again, bring your palms together overhead. Maybe take an extra breath here, really lifting through the heart, stretching up through the fingertips. And on your next exhale, slide your hands down to your heart, chin to chest. Bow to yourself once again. Bow to your body. And then inhale, stretch the fingertips back up toward the sky, lengthen through the arms. Exhale, sweep the arms out and back down. Make any adjustments in your seat. Maybe stretch out the legs very gently. Once again. Yeah. One of my good friends calls that technique a breath vitamin. So maybe it felt that way for you. The techniques will always land differently for everyone, and they will land differently for you from day to day. Some days it'll feel very, very challenging. I remember when I first started practicing that technique, which by the way, we did for 3 minutes. So that's a very long time. So just saying. When I first did it, it felt impossible, and after practicing it, like practicing anything, it gets easier, it gets more joyful. Anyway, let's move into our next pranayama technique, kind of smoothing things out now, bringing things to a deeper sense of balance and centering with nadi shodhana, with alternate nostril breathing, which I also know most of you are familiar with. So of course, feel free to just dive right in to nadi shodhana, to alternate nostril breathing. And if you're not familiar with it, I will explain. Classically, this is used with the right hand, but if using your left hand today is more comfortable, please feel free to do so. You could also not use the hand at all if the hand gesture does not feel right, or if you're working with a deviated septum or any sinus issues today, fully closing off one nostril and then the other might not be appropriate. So you can just simply imagine breathing in one side of the nose and breathing out down the other, and then breathing in that side and exhaling down the opposite. Alternate nostril breathing is a really powerful but very gentle way of cleaning and clearing out the nadis, the energy channels. The nadis are sometimes translated from the Sanskrit as rivers of light, as rivers of light. And so if you are going to use the right hand, you can tuck your peace fingers, your index and mid fingertip, into your palms. It's kind of like the hang 10 symbol. You could also rest the peace fingers at your third eye point, using your thumb and your ring finger like a toggle here. So either tucking the peace fingers in or resting at third eye. Right thumb gently rests against right nostril. Soft, easy breath here. Now there's no force. Left side, we inhale, close off the nose at the top, release your thumb, and gently exhale down the right side. We stay for the inhale. Soft in the belly as you breathe in. Close off the nose at the top, release ring finger. Exhale, relax, release. Stay for the inhale, left side. Close off the nose at the top, release your thumb. Exhale, down the right side. Inhale, right side. At the top of the breath, close off the nose, release ring finger, and exhale gently. So there's really no sound on the breath here. Just really sweet and easy. Notice wherever the mind moves as you continue with this technique. You can rest your attention on the technique, on the sensations of the breath flowing in and out of the nose. You can also rest your awareness on the intention of the technique. to balance, to harmonize, to center the mind, the energy, even the body. Balancing the right and the left hemispheres of the brain. Balancing the lunar and the solar channels in the body. The left nostril governed by the Ida nadi, the lunar channel, the yin channel. The right nostril, the Pingala nadi, governed by the solar, the yang energy. There's the polarity here. Solar and lunar, yin and yang, up and down, night and day. Both are absolutely essential for us to know the wholeness of reality as we perceive it. We can only know day because we know night. We can only know lunar energy because we understand solar energy. The next time you exhale down the left side of the nose, down that lunar channel, you can gently release the technique. Relax your arm. The palms could either be facing upward or downward, index fingers and thumbs lightly connected here in the wisdom seal. Eyes can be closed or gaze, very relaxed, diving deeper inward. Sense into the qualities of feeling grounded. Notice where your body is connected to the earth. Perhaps grounded across your hips, your legs. Sense into that earth energy, rooted, solid. Now, see if you could observe qualities of lightness and spaciousness within you. Maybe in your upper body, maybe through the crown of your head. Maybe as the breath just sweetly rises and releases. Maybe you sense that energy of air and ether. Light and bright. Now, can you sense both at the same time? Feeling both grounded and light. Could you sense within you pockets of warmth, places of heat? Can you sense coolness? Could you hold both warmth and coolness simultaneously in your experience? Could you call up a sensation of joy, a sensation of gratitude, of appreciation? Maybe the breath rises and falls across your heart. Can you call up qualities of sadness, confusion, doubt? With just as much tenderness as you can hold your joy and your gratitude, could you tenderly look at your sorrow or at your sadness or your frustration? Could you tenderly look into or look at your doubt, almost like a parent would tenderly look at their child who'd been hurt? The child scraped their knee. Tend to your own wounds with that same love and compassion, holding space for everything that you feel. These days, many of us I know are going through the feels. You're holding a lot. You might experience so many emotions, so many reactions and responses and states of being just in the same hour. And so here we just get to hold some kind space for yourself. And could you look at your gratitude as a guru? Could you look at your joy as a guru, a teacher? Could you look at your sadness as a guru? Could you look at your confusion as a guru? Caroline Meese says, confusion is wonderful because when we are confused, we are very open. We're still open to so many possibilities. We haven't, quote, made up our minds yet, end quote. And when someone's made up their mind tends to get very rigid. We often say that, right? Nope, I've made up my mind. You can't convince me otherwise. My mind has been made up. I won't budge. So confusion actually allows space, it allows freedom. We can shift, we can change direction, we can open ourselves to new information, new insight, new ideas. Could your uncertainty be your guru too? Take a few more deep breaths into your heart. Let's place one hand on the heart and the other hand just right on top of the heart center. Let the breath grow deeper. Maybe you feel the breath really rise up, inflating your lungs with each inhale beneath your hands, exhaling completely, just deflating, letting go, inflating as you inhale, exhale, deflate. Let's just spend the last few moments of our meditation in mantra, in silent mantra, any word or phrase that resonates with you today. It could simply be Om, Om Shanti, or maybe it's simply breathing in space, breathing out grace, breathing in light, or breathing out love. Any word or any phrase that resonates with you, just gently repeating it in your mind. You could keep the hands where they are. You could relax them once again down to your lap. Feel free to bring your palms together at your heart, either keeping them one resting on top of the other, or palms lightly pressed together, or hands can just remain as they are in a comfortable position. Loka samasta sukino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. Thank you all so much. I bow to you. Namaste. Thank you so much for taking this time for yourself. I'm so grateful. You guys are awesome.